so I don't get in your pictures.
No.
You just have to be careful what you say, that's all.
No, that's right.
And I'm always tempted, you know, I can feel like a little smile, a little bit, every once in a while, like, Larry, don't do it.
Mellow since I first mentioned
We need that.
it. 5 years ago, you never were saying that. Learned.
I hate to ask you this, but we've got 2 members leaving and we've got a lot to do.
Oh, boy.
So, you know, open the meeting. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, a quorum, barely.
Temporarily.
And what do we want on the map in Prospect Farm?
Well,
What,
I went up just now.
yeah, and I looked.
And just stood there, looked at it, pretended
There's a
that
lot
I
of
had
blank
no
space.
idea where I was.
Yeah.
And I said, I just started writing down recommendations, suggested recommendations, and I'd like to hear what you guys have and
Okay.
see if some of them are the same as well.
Yeah.
I apologize for such a small and only singular map, but if you like this to
Yeah.
jog your memories, to look at.
Yeah, that's what's there.
And that is what is up there.
And what I noticed is, like, look at all these,
Yep.
Dead end.
Yeah.
well, blank spaces too. We have lots of
Dead ends.
room. You know, here, this is the whole sign.
Yep.
And then
There's more roads there. right?
it only shows what's here. So we have no idea what trails come in, what trails go out, and where they go
So
to.
we're just showing the town, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That was one of the things that was glaring to me. Just for the fun of it, we went on to Granite, and this is 2010 aerial photo, but it shows the new road, and it shows the patch cutting that we did in there in the aerial photo. and such.
How do you get that?
You can see that. That's ArcGIS, Granite. It's a website maintained, natural resource.
ARC, GRS.
GIS, well, that's the program that we use. And you got an extra $1,400 kicking around, you can buy one.
But that's the software cost.
Yeah.
stuff we're gonna touch on.
And, but the beauty of it is, and that's how we built the original map, is that you can change the scale, you can add things, delete things, you
Yeah,
can plot the map onto the topo, onto aerial photo, take layers off, add a little bit. But there's a lot to knowing. I'll be frank with you, I don't know how to run it. I have good guys working for me, they're Cracker Jacks at it.
In comparison, I have a 1943 area that was taken, and it's a fairly small scale. It's kind of gravy, I don't know how much we can expand it. If that would be helpful for any comparison.
Well, it certainly is always educational to look at what has happened. But, so, you know, I stood there, and my suggestion improvements was show the gates.
Oh, okay.
Right at the very end, I looked at it and said, there's a glaring error on that map. And that is, it shows the Bog Brook Trail as a road.
Oh, you get somebody up there playing.
That would be fun.
And I just looked at it, that's wrong. And I noticed that right at the end, so
Yeah.
I got that on there.
Huh.
I thought maybe a larger "You Are Here" font, maybe brighter,
Yeah.
and a little more concise as to where you are, so then you'll have the gates, and then "You Are
My
Here."
only thought on the gate, our gate, fine, it's not going
Yep.
anywhere. This gate, we've talked about moving it how many times so that we could get a parking area in there.
And I have no issues.
Is Hall's Ledge, is that Hall's Ledge marked on
It is,
Outlook, yeah.
this? Okay, because that's one of the best cheap views around as far as I'm concerned. Although it's gotten a bit overgrown
I
since.
have a copy of it somewhere in the stuff.
Since the first one up there.
Well, we always talk about
Okay.
So is this Boggy Brook Road right there? Whatever they call that.
Let's see. Okay.
You are here is right there.
This is the Wildcat Brook Road. Like that. So it'd be back in the Brook Trail, take off from here, like that, which is shown as a road on there. You see it right here, shown as a road.
Right, okay.
That should be Brook Trail.
Right, because they were actually talking about getting rid of it at one point. I think they might have given up getting rid of that trail because it crossed the river 3 or 4 times. And it makes it awesome. It's an awesome trail for that reason. They had talked about stopping to maintain it.
Well, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
love to
there's,
get a copy of it.
there's full admission, they intended
Yeah,
to build that parking lot.
and actually, at this point, I don't think we care if they build it. We could build one ourselves on our land, but the gate still wants to be moved. Yeah, put it right in there on the left. That's a perfect spot, even if we got 12 cars there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a
Really?
great spot in there.
Yeah, okay.
I was impressed with the new parking.
Is that something you could email me, so I could,
I could somehow, I'm
or
sure.
I could copy, you don't
I'm sure I
have
could
access
put it
to
out
it.
time.
Yeah.
The first time you've seen that new parking lot?
Yeah, I could have seen it, holy
Yeah.
smokes.
I know.
Because they just got it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was busy.
It looks like it holds 20 cars in it.
I'd say at least larger was, even the terrain right
Yeah.
there.
No, not 20.
Or-
Not 15.
Oh, it's worse than, I mean, by the land.
Yeah,
basically.
okay, by the land.
Then you head down in.
Oh.
But it's pretty impressive. But exactly what you guys are saying about the trails, that show where Wildcat Valley Trail leaves property on the north.
Well, it'd be nice to see where the mountains are and where these trails are going.
Yep.
And we have room.
Well, there is some of that on here, but you gotta know how to read the USGS. And the trails aren't on there. We
That's
can layer it.
that's small.
Yep.
And it's difficult to read. I looked at that
We could blow it up.
and I couldn't make heads or tails out of that.
We could layer the trails
I
right
mean,
onto it.
well,
Does it make sense to put the trails
I
on
think-
here
I
or?
think we-
There is a mark for an overlook too, isn't there?
We
You know,
can.
something like this that shows scenic overlook,
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
can
we
go to see if they want to see the mountains.
And we
Yeah.
did number
You know what I
those
Yeah.
up here as to where they were, and I thought that, for instance, it should have a caption under Hall's Ledge picture as Hall's Ledge.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, is it wasn't marked.
And it doesn't say that here, yet it's referred to over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it shows you where it is by number.
You say view,
Maybe I ought to put the number and say Hall's Ledge.
view from Hall's Ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, view from Hallsville.
And that's what I'm saying, you mark on the map like that. You know,
Yep.
sometimes they get fancy and put like a
Right,
little eyeball
because
in.
it's hard to see on here too.
Yeah.
Well, the map, of course, I went up and measured it too. I estimated the print dimensions at 36 by 46. So
It's good size.
it is good size, and it does give you room to take something like this USGS,
Right.
make it bigger, scale so that this is larger. And we can layer the trails onto it so that they're apparent. We can do that. I thought maybe we'd eliminate the timber sale boundary line. I think that was just
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, I think we did it because we were doing the
Right,
timber
at the
sale
time
at the
we were
time.
doing
Yeah, those shouldn't be on there.
So get rid of that.
Yeah, the two of them.
Well, I tell you what we can do is, we'll go down through this list here. I can do a draft,
Yeah,
email it
get
to
it back
you,
to, okay.
and take a look at it.
Yeah.
And then we can add things or just detract things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because just even looking at this, like, even the trails on here, even Bog Brook, you don't know where it's going.
No,
You know, or Wildcat,
Yep.
where does it go?
I don't know.
So.
You're looking at this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But would you say like to Wild River Trail or something like that? So
Well,
right.
Yeah.
To, or, you know, if it's Wildcat Brook Trail, to Wildcat Mountain, to,
Yeah, absolutely.
To scenic overlook, to whatever.
or such and such hot, or,
Yeah,
So then there's a reason for that.
yeah, exactly.
or not,
Yeah.
going, I don't wanna go to the top of the line. I've climbed enough today.
Have you ever looked at navigation charts? I'm familiar with the 1/250 scale map.
Yeah.
They're usually three-dimensional and they're shaded, and multi-shading, but you get the vertical development of them very well, you know, as opposed to a USGS map.
Yeah, I don't love the USGS.
You really don't.
I don't. Yeah, that's hard.
If I had one of those still or not, but
That's hard to-
over the years.
And maybe if this were bigger, like you said, if it took up this whole space, maybe.
Use the space.
Yeah, you could use-
it.
Yeah, because it makes no sense to have these.
Yeah.
So our overlooks then are Hall's Ledge, what is this?
That's balls of both Hall's Ledge. There are no
Okay.
pictures here of the new vista and little pasture where we cut
Right.
up off the Hall's Ledge
We
here.
should
So
probably have
I have pictures of that, yes, sir.
We should
So
probably have one.
we can put that in there. I did make that,
And do
add a
what
picture of,
Dave said, and show that big view.
Is that the one where the picnic table is?
that's the Hall's
Are the, I
Ledge.
didn't notice, are the cellar holes marked on there?
Yes,
Yes.
And the orchard and.
yes.
Yep, that's on here. Yeah, everything that, you know, is on, the property is on here, but
Nothing,
Yeah.
that, but that's it.
that's it.
Yeah, if
we
you've
don't-
never been there, you don't
Right.
have a feel for it,
Yeah, yeah, you don't know where the hell you're going.
Would it be helpful or significant to give a thumbnail picture of the history of Prospect Mountain?
That's
Well,
lovely.
there's a little bit,
Yeah, there is
Yeah,
there is a.
tiny bit.
it's pretty scant. I've seen-
Yeah.
I was up there.
Would you work on it or do something?
Sure, sure.
I mean, sure, yeah. We just
Certainly.
need someone to, you know, put something together and then we could wordsmith it, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I'd appreciate that.
yeah.
On the title, I mean, this is a town forest, correct? Is it
Yes.
designated town forest? Should we so state that this is town forest?
Right, not just managed by.
For
Yeah, no,
managed
that's
by
a good-
Conservation
That's a good point.
Commission, which
Oh.
makes it sound a little bit more like you should leave it alone, you know?
I was at the last build-out analysis meeting, and is it Larry Miller that's the cartographer?
Larry Garman.
Darwin, I'm sorry, got my Larry's mixed up. He came up to me and remember you said they were thinking about donating a building to put up there for the Jackson Ski Tour, and it was just a thought. Is that still out there, that thought? Well, he made an interesting point, and maybe you'll know about this. He said, do we want to put a conservation easement on this?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Just so that nobody ever does
Yeah,
try to put a building up there, or
I've pushed for that on the Conway's town forests.
did you, on the Whitaker, or?
So who,
On it, any of them that seemed at risk.
Yeah,
who holds the easement?
Well, Upper Saco Valley Land Trust
Okay.
is now holding easement on at least one of the lots, I do believe, I think the common lands perhaps. and,
it wasn't a bad thought.
Oh, I think it's a great one.
Just so that nobody down the line thinks they're gonna put workforce housing up there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
That's easy to push. University.
And they certainly seem able to hold easements,
Yeah.
they're pretty well organized.
There would have to be a town vote, and then we'd have to look at the charter that set this up, just in case the Prospect Farm
There's
doesn't
expense,
allow,
there's expense involved, that's the only
Yeah.
thing.
but the commission could pay for it.
Surveying and.
Yeah, that's not a huge
And
expense.
then
It's
there's
just
down
stewardship, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a huge expense though, is it?
I think we
What
could do
would
it.
what would you think? Is it-
Well, you could get into, for the whole
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
I want, that'd be a wild guess, but I'm gonna say $25,000.
You think it could be that much?
Oh,
No.
wow.
No, it would not.
We don't have to have it surveyed at this point, do we?
Yeah, you're supposed to have it surveyed.
Even though we've already have all our lines pretty well marked here, the way we mark them.
They don't require survey.
whatever it takes.
But ours is.
If it's on the
Is
deed,
it
it'll
going
be,
by Land Trust Alliance?
It'll be a
Guidelines.
conversation piece.
But isn't
well, if
that
you get Upper
piece,
Saco Valley Land Trust involved, there's some pockets there.
isn't that piece already surveyed though?
Well, it is basically all surveyed, but I don't know if it's ever been all gathered in one place, you know. The thing to do would be to contact William Abbott
Okay.
or Linda Como
Right.
and speak with them
Oh.
and say, no, I'm just thinking about this.
Yeah,
And they could tell you, they
okay.
could tell you, right on.
Thanks.
She lives in town.
Yeah,
I would just hate to see somebody
I agree.
utilize that someday for something other
Just to get back to
than
this,
recreation.
are we talking about just general? Are we talking about filling in this rectangle with, instead of being white space, it's gonna be
Well, one
map
thing,
space?
It's a lot of white space.
Yeah, that's what my feeling is. Are we allowed to show what goes on
Some-
private land as long as we,
Oh, it's Forest Service.
well, that's private.
there is
that's
some
not-
private in there.
Yeah.
This is, Valentine's.
Well, it's
Right.
private, at least they know they don't wanna go that way. I mean, assuming
Yeah,
there are
we
trails.
could put private land or, here or here, but all of this is Forest Service.
I just wonder if we wouldn't just have the town land be in a different shade or bordered and then still carry out, like a traditional mapping sense where you really, yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about, but as I thought about what you heard, I was like, oh, that's not what we're talking
Because you wanna know where the trails go that are heading off.
Right.
about. Yeah, I just wonder if it would just be like a bigger map in general, showing a broader area, and then we have our lines.
I think what he's saying is like if Wildcat Mountain is here, put it there,
Yeah, but I don't think on scale you could ever
do it.
show.
Yeah, you don't need
You
to
can't
have
even do it on that scale.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, you can't even, you would.
But you
some would be
can,
like-
you can put an arrow,
That says.
Yeah.
Wildcat Mountain over here, Mount Washington over
Here,
here.
measure distances right off the machine.
Right, you could even say,
Take 2 points off.
Summit of
Probably
Wildcat.
useful to know.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that would be needed, to say, Summit of Wildcat is
2 points something
whatever,
or.
just
yeah.
to kind of get that scale going.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's sufficient.
I just wonder.
No, it's good.
Definitely should get the new road on there.
Yeah.
Pull it right off of this, put it onto there accurately. I don't think, any of the patch cuts or anything like that, are worth putting on
No.
it, it's just going to, that would just be.
Confused. Yeah, that's confusing.
And then, have you been, was it the UST trail? It's- Since the Forest Service, now Garland is logging off of Route 16.
Yeah.
Have you seen where?
I was just up there, took a
Okay.
picture of the bridge,
Oh,
and I was curious about it. Holy cow, that's-
yeah.
So they're cutting it there
No, they actually got the boot up there this winter, they said the road was too dangerous to truck out of, and I can see why.
Yeah,
The approach on the far side of that bridge is scary.
Where are they going in?
or they're coming out.
Oh,
That first pull out, just above Dana Place, and
oh,
Yeah.
75-foot span, that bridge, was, unsupported. The middle was the 24, I would say the 24-inch I-beams, probably 5/8 steel, 6 of them went across. And I just looked at that, and that's quite a pitch down into the river there.
It's going across the hills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where's the?
Oh, they put a temporary bridge in?
Nuts to the
that's the
log.
bridge, is 75 feet.
If you go to the UST trail, you ski that this year,
It's
you
heavy.
see this huge.
It's got one.
And then the road just goes on the far side and turns.
Went off on Bear Mountain Road last year, metal bridge. Just been sitting there for a year.
Now, the Forest Service has several of those bridges
Yeah.
that they have available for use on the timber seas.
All right.
Okay. Well,
No rush, you've got 5 minutes.
I think I've got a pretty good idea, and I think the thing to do is to put something together
Okay.
and,
Shoot it back to us, and
See what
then
you think, and,
we'll mark it up
It's not a lot
and send
of
it
work.
back to you.
most of the heavy lifting been done already, in that we've got it. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and make some- That's what I say to Tim, who's doing the work.
Yeah, you tell
everybody how easy it is.
It's not you.
I'm not doing it.
But it'd be nice to be able to get that to where it's usable.
Yeah.
You know, more usable. We've had so many people say they just get turned around up in there. They don't know where the trails are going, where.
Well, and it's not publicized very much either, you know?
And we should work on that.
Is there any coordination with the cross-country guys as far as marked trails? Because you go up there in the wintertime, and it's pretty random.
They did have a ski tour foundation map, but that
Right.
was really basic.
Yeah.
If you can navigate off that, you're pretty good.
Yeah, that's, there is very little coordination between Jackson Ski Tour. Maybe with a new person in there this year, we could do a little more coordinating.
Yeah,
Trails
but
crews.
it's so weather dependent upon what they groom, what they don't groom from year to year. I mean, like this year, I think they had a hard time getting the big machine up there. And then there became too much snow and they physically couldn't groom certain things. I believe that's how it worked with the small machine, you know, and they lost the opportunity to access areas and to get it wasn't worth the effort, so. You know, now suddenly it feels like the area's this big when there's all this up here that they couldn't get. In other years, they can only get over there. So it's been random with the Forest Service
Roll the
too.
dice.
And the Forest Service, now that they're out, I think it should be more consistent.
I don't think in terms of an overlay for that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I almost think we can't involve ourselves with the ski touring trails. You know, one, they're only used for the most part in the winter, and, you know, it's just not our job, and it would get too confusing if we put them on, you know, so we don't want to put the ski touring
That's
trails.
my thought is,
Yeah,
an overlay and, you know.
Let them deal with it and on their own map. The only time anyone would do it is in the winter.
No, I understand that, and I agree, but I'm just saying, as we're going through this, we touch base with them, and give them an opportunity to get to see.
okay.
Right, I mean, they're, have you seen a recent Jackson Ski Tour map?
No.
There was a map
Yeah.
stapled to
Right, they don't
the kiosk up there.
break
Pretty
that.
small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that section
This
doesn't.
size.
Yeah, it was about that size and it was stapled.
Yeah.
We should bring a recent map, I think it's a better.
Of,
I feel like on a new ski tour, after you open it up, I think there might be an overlay where they open up, where it's expanded for like Hubs Loop and
no,
all that
I'll
stuff.
go. What is her name? The new,
Brief.
that's her first name, Brady?
I don't remember that last name.
Okay. I'll ask her about that.
Well, there's some real improvements to be done here, but we've got a good start.
Yeah.
We certainly can do it. And so I should look for some history.
Okay.
That
I'll-
might-
I'll check with
We'll try to put something together. That
I'll
might,
walk out with you.
yeah, that might take us a little while to get together.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I'll look through your drawer.
Well, we're probably not gonna get this done. Our next meeting is the first week of next month. So we'll look at what he's done, mark it up, send it back to him. I'm thinking we could maybe get it done by July, you know, the first week of July. And so we've got some time to get the history together.
Okay.
Who do you have for this? Who-
I had Minuteman,
Oh, okay.
and they got some really, they got some sophisticated stuff.
Yeah.
They put that on a special type of, it really isn't paper.
Yeah.
It's almost like a vinyl. And with permanent,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's named
Yeah.
toner. It did, but it was $120 for the print. But no, you know, I have,
That big.
I mean, to buy the equipment to do that, cost prohibitive. But for them to do it is great.
Good. Thank you for coming in.
Well,
I'm sorry, I gotta run.
All right.
You got 3 more minutes.
Okay,
We
we got to vote because I'm gonna destroy the quorum.
1, 2, no, we have a quorum.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
So I
4.
leave.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, without me.
Yeah, we can't lose you. You're not as violent as you think.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's nice. I remember one size.
I'm sorry?
I remember one.
Thanks, Don.
thank
I
you.
was in a junior high, we judged the junior high schools, the middle school. Great project, actually took 4 different kinds of types.
You too.
Like New Times Roman and
That's
3 others. And did tests with people, how fast they could read it and what they'd retain. It was very interesting.
All right.
Judged the size there.
You're on.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I didn't judge that project.
We've only got 4 of us though. Yeah.
you were one of the judges.
Yeah.
You were the one that-
Okay.
George is a
You did,
No, I'd love him to be, but
Yes.
no, he,
Yes.
we don't have
We're one
room
of
for
three.
it, but he's gonna help us do some projects,
He's
so.
a finalist.
He can
Oh,
participate
yeah,
if he
he
wants
wants
to.
to go in the soccer practice and
Yeah,
sit
Yeah,
you can answer.
three, judges with each project
Uh,
independently.
You want me to?
there.
I think he wanted to talk to Don. Good night.
Take care, guys.
I did.
So he's gonna, kill the footage here, and this isn't recorded, or,
That's your conservation commission.
Oh, that's for the e-news, right? Isn't that what I wrote for the?
no, he just has this with writing on it.
Well, I did the handwriting, I'm just saying,
Oh.
this particular.
Oh, that's hers for the town column.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
we did chips last year too, remember?
Chips, what are you talking about?
Wood chips. We spread the
Oh.
chips last fall. Do you have
Okay,
a paper
minutes.
copy of it on you?
I do.
I
Of
have
yours?
it- Yeah,
Yeah.
I have it saved.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay.
Okay, so let's review the minutes quick. I kind of already did, and I just had a few changes. If you want to make some notes.
Sure.
Uh,
What happens after they get, like, whatever changes you make, what?
Well, I redo them,
Okay.
I make the changes, and I've just been doing it. I don't mind doing it unless you
And
want.
then do they get
And then,
submitted?
yeah, and then I put them on emails tomorrow,
Okay,
in theory,
okay.
provided I actually do my homework today.
Okay.
So down to the commission discuss future projects. Number one, we still need a sign for the mystery loop. Larry will go to J.C. Signs in Jackson to get one.
No, that's
Not-
not Wolfboro.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, but
Alright,
he isn't going to go to J.C. Signs and get one. He will look into it. J.C. Signs to look into pricing, And then Brian Byrne suggested a third loop off the current trail. And I kind of, all right. The commission may also try to build an extension off the current trail. I just thought Brian Byrne suggested a third loop off the current trail. And then 2 looks good, 3 looks good. Down to 4, there's just a problem. It says, the commission wondered if Carter Knox Road is a Class 6 road. We know it is.
Okay,
The next line I got rid of. A Class 6 road cannot be subdivided. That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
so do we even need to say anything about the Class 6 road?
No, but the commission, that's okay. The commission wondered if Carter Knox Road, yeah, because it follows in with the rest. So if we just get rid of a Class 6 road cannot be subdivided, so it says, the commission wondered if Carter Knox Road is a Class 6 road. Someone approached Brian Byrne to inquire about a building structure up at Prospect Farm. If this is officially presented to the town, then the commission will advise the selectmen. The commission must find out if the new ski touring parking lot has permission for year-round use. I would have switched that around.
Okay,
Someone approached Brian Byrne to inquire about the building, and then put the commission wondered if Carter Knox Road is a Class 6, because then it makes sense.
okay.
And then one last little thing, knotweed.
He's getting payback here.
Yeah, I know. When I did this, I was thinking to myself, she's gonna think that I was mad at her for ripping mine apart.
Don't worry, Margaret, you did the same thing to me.
They did.
Not
Several
bad.
times.
And then just, the commission has to completely eliminate the knotweed on Gray's Inn property in order to complete the wetlands
Right.
permit.
Okay,
Not, what did you have in there?
Obtain.
Obtain, yeah, we have the permit, we
Okay.
just need to complete it.
okay.
Complete the Gray's Inn property wetland permit, that's all. So, no, they're good minutes.
Yes,
They were,
yes.
It's okay.
but just, 1 or 2 things just didn't,
Well, it's hard sometimes to take minutes and also participate at the
Oh,
same
boy,
time,
is
as
it.
you all know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
yeah, I end up having to watch the film and then redo them.
Well, good, gives us something to do each meeting.
Anybody else have anything, since I tore her minutes to pieces here?
I'm gonna go
My
home and
only
cry, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
question is, I thought you said something about another wetlands permit that we had to look over.
We do tonight,
Okay.
yeah, and real quick, and it should take a minute. So, a motion to accept as amended.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I think
All in favor?
Mhm.
Unanimous. Okay, and I'll do that tonight.
Okay.
Okay, I'll change that and then send it to e-news. So you don't get e-news, you want to maybe just call up Leslie Schoenmaker, get on e-news and find out. I guess the only other there's a lot of little things I would have liked to have done tonight, and one of them is like set a date to get the knotweed and set a date to go back up the falls. We can go to the falls on our own right now, we know what to do.
Yeah, my chips got washed away by part of the
Oh, did
water,
it?
but I think it's beneficial to put them back.
Oh,
Because
okay.
people walk.
Yeah, oh, okay. I walked it, I picked up garbage, our broken signs and the tape. Anybody have any ideas other than the tape? That looks like hell.
Yeah, the tape is pretty.
Is there something else we can do to keep people from walking?
Can't we do some sort of like little limb thing, you know, where you
Fence?
actually make some sort of, but like with branches, that you make like.
Wait, just like what we used to block off?
Yeah,
across the
and
parking lot?
especially over by the
Oh
bridge.
my God, they're awful.
They're gonna walk down that and destroy it,
With
and
the ferns.
I don't mind putting tape there.
But they, you know, they'll blow through the they've done that before. People just break through the tape.
It looks
So they
terrible.
get mad.
Well, it can't be, I think one of the problems is we're using flagging tape. Flagging tape's really intended to be tied to a branch so that you see it, yeah,
Yeah.
you can break it with your fingers.
What
so
else
that-
could we use?
Well, they have the boundary tape, like what a fire department put up saying,
Crime scene.
yeah.
That
like,
looks terrible too.
well, there's other, you don't have to get it in
Yellow
Yeah.
or
orange and,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have to say, you know, whatever it says on it. You can, they have like ski areas, they set up a ski area boundary line is, you know, it's like a 3.5 inch
Yeah.
wide, kind of a mesh
I'll
webbing.
look at Obichun's and see if we can come up with something better to look
Look
at.
up on.
Is that what you're, like, just the
Grangers.
aesthetic?
Yeah, it looks terrible.
But there
It's
needs
just-
to be something that says remediation.
And then it gets
too.
broken and it,
But there needs to be something that says remediation, because then people won't just break them off.
Right.
I mean, what
See,
about like
there's a
a
reason why
rope
it's there.
with
All the little-
signs, like laminated signs hanging down off the rope?
rope isn't a bad idea. That would look better.
I mean, it would be like a neutral color to blend in with.
We'd have to
the
put
landscape.
in, something, like the metal stakes. That would look better.
Look on the.
And then if we can get Mike to do more of those, wetland areas. Yeah. Because they're almost all gone now. I picked up the broken sticks.
They serve.
This quickly, I know you've got to go. We were going to try to get in for this week. Let's shoot for next week. Of course, the deadline is tomorrow morning. You've got a copy of this.
Right.
We wanted to write, and Margaret did this, and she did a good job of it. I like it. We could correct it and make any corrections and send them to me, but I liked it for the most part. It's concise, it's to the point, and we were gonna get it in the town column. It doesn't necessarily have to get in for this Thursday, because I have to have it in by tomorrow morning. So we could shoot for, next Thursday.
Why can't we get, what we have right here? We want to, as a group, go over it.
Yeah, that was my only thought, is does anybody else want to look at it? I
I
liked
think
it.
unless there are major changes, we could do it.
Okay.
Were you saying something about the
I was
wood
just gonna
chips
say-
last year also?
Yeah, we did put, so people would understand that we put the wood chips down already.
Oh, right, that's.
Just so that they know.
Could it be something as simple as saying we'll continue
Yeah,
using
yeah.
donated in the last paragraph?
Yeah.
We're,
This spring, the commission will continue using donated wood chips to protect exposed tree roots.
Yeah.
use will continue. Okay. And if it isn't in this week's column, because tomorrow morning is the deadline, I'll definitely have it for next week's column. And above and beyond that, the only other really important thing to touch upon tonight is there's a wetlands permit that we received from Tin Mountain. I see no problems with it whatsoever. It's up on Steve Weeder's property. It's in a great brook, and they want to add woody debris to the brook in order to enhance fish habitat. And basically what we did here in the vernal pool, and get woody debris in there so that eggs can, you know, latch onto and the permit itself, it had a great little definition of, you've got to go. So you can go, I don't want to. But here's what it says here. In the early 19th century, much of New England's forests were clear-cut, causing dramatic changes in water quality and degradation of brook trout habitat, resulting in extirpation from many streams in the Northeast. Although much of the area is reforested, the amount of large woody material present in streams has been reduced substantially throughout the region and remains much reduced from pre-settlement levels. Good trout habitat requires down trees and large woody material in streams that alter flows, gouging deep pools and providing thermal protection, hiding resting areas and distributing gravel for spawning sites. Accumulation of leaves, twigs, and other organic matter trapped by large woody material allows the stream to hold more nutrients, creating habitat for macroinvertebrates, important to brook trout as food and riparian habitat as a whole. So what they're going to do is they're going to take trees but not close to the stream, put them in the river, avoid cutting trees located near the stream bank, so not hurt the stabilization of the stream. They're going to take felled logs on the floodplain are left to increase roughness, reduce flood intensities, and improve wildlife habitat. So they'll get wood from away from the area, introduce it to the stream, and
I actually worked on this
Oh, did you?
project with Tina a couple
Oh,
years
really?
ago. Yeah.
oh, awesome.
When I was working.
So a similar project, or?
It was in a different, I mean, the brook trout habitat restoration, they've been doing in various
Oh, okay.
locations, and the one I did was over in like the Chatham
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
So I guess they just picked Steve Weeder because he borders it.
Where is that?
that's, done, you know,
Way out.
the girl that worked at, the ski tuner, it's Jackson Ski Tuning, I don't know her name. So Doublehead Way, you know, if you park to go to the Doublehead Ski Trail.
Yep.
He's
Go
way
down
out
that
past B.
driveway
Davis,
all the
right?
way out, instead of taking, you know, you're at Doublehead Park, go down that road all the way in. That's for Stephen Weir.
Oh, I didn't know that the road went that far
Yeah.
past the
Yeah,
trailhead.
you know, Daniel, so.
We
Okay.
don't have a quorum. We've been handling these with three of us. I don't see any problem with this. Does anybody have any questions, anything you want to
No,
bring up on it?
that first paragraph sounds like my son's room, the excuse I should
His
take him
room?
that. No, is it
About
having-
woody debris.
Having debris scattered, and, I was like, wow. that sounds
So I'm going to go ahead and sign this. The only thing they did not do is they gave us the 4 copies. There's actually a 5th copy. One has to go to the Heritage Bureau. And this happened in our last one, the one that we got from the Highway Department. They forgot to, and Greg Howard does these, he's very efficient. They didn't give us mailing. So in the last one from the Federal Highway Department, the town of Jackson paid for the mailing. And I bet we paid $6 or $7 to mail that to DES. He did not put mailing in here. I called him and I told him that I will mail it and send him a bill from the town of Jackson for the $6 or $7 that it's going to cost to send this to DES and the Heritage Bureau. But other than that, it's pretty cut and dry. It's a good project.
There's no name of the stream.
Great Brook.
Great Brook.
Yeah,
I believe it's Great Brook.
I just went to the town, to the fire pond the other day, walked that.
And it's Stephen Weeder's property. It's going to be done by Tina Melton.
Any more news about the fire pond?
All right, no, I'll update everyone quickly on that. 2 permits to update on is Good Shore. It's at ZBA, they have not voted, but it looks like they're gonna go through and give them a building permit on that. But they haven't done the official vote, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
I did get a notice from the DES saying that the monitor was there on April 22nd, and he's spoken to Mr. Couture, and so far he's, he gave him some more suggestions, that he could mitigate the spring erosion, and otherwise he's on track to complete the all-terrain permit. The second one was we received a letter from DES on the Black Mountain Fire Pond. And a few changes there. One of the changes is that the property is no longer owned by Levine. It was bought by Don Bilger of the Whitney Inn. And secondly, DES said that they allowed him to put the sandbags in this winter, and he was asked to remove them at this point. What has actually happened to them, I don't know the answer. Some people think that maybe they did get washed down with one of the high waters, but he had full permission to put them in.
Bilger did? Or Levine
No,
did?
actually neither or. Black Mountain did, which is John Fitzgerald, Mr. Fitzgerald.
How do you spell his last name?
Fichera, Fichera, John Fitzgerald. And so he's been given a plan to fix the pond and the inlet, and they'll be monitoring it, and it's, being taken care of.
So he was given permission to put the sandbags?
Bags in again this year to divert water into the pond to make snow,
Yeah.
and he was asked to remove them, and I believe they are gone. I have gone up there and I don't see them.
Who gave him permission?
DES, the Department of Environmental Services.
And now they're saying that he,
Yeah, it's a spring, it's a thing he puts them in the fall to move the water for the
he's allowed to do
winter.
it in the fall, but has to take them out in the
Correct.
spring?
And he's following.
Is he allowed, I mean, I guess if DES is giving him permission, but I thought
That's
that
the Wetlands Bureau.
I thought that you weren't allowed to divert the flow of water in a,
I think that's
That's
the issue.
Um,
Some people are having.
Well, I think the issue people had was the fact that the bags break up and they end up down the stream. And it may have occurred again.
Yeah.
I don't know why DES allows him to do it, but he has written permission from the Department of Environmental Services to do that. And that's part of their plan, so I'm not going to argue with
The
that.
whole zone, this whole spot looks kind of.
It needs work, the whole area.
Serious.
They have a plan laid out, and he's implemented, the first part of it. So, and now that the property is owned by Don Bilger,
Right.
I think the whole property will look a lot better.
Because
shortly. Because he
he
cares.
wants to send people down to
Right.
the pond.
And already you can see what he's done on that side of the road. I don't know if you've looked, but he built that nice little roofed-in area with the picnic tables and a barbecue and for
Yeah.
weddings. And
yeah.
so he's gonna want to clean that pond up, and
When did they redig that
I have no
ditch, lack of a better word,
I know that Jay is allowed to dig that out anytime he needs to because it's a fire pond and he's the fire chief.
Yeah.
He dug this out 2 years ago and made it deeper, so I don't
You
know.
guys see the otter that was in?
Oh, no,
No,
I got another.
No?
Yeah,
awesome.
I have it on my, there's an
He'll
island.
hang out for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah, there's an island of ice right in the middle, and you would
Oh,
just
awesome.
jump on there
Really?
and make all these noises, yeah. it's pretty-
Otters have a very distinct pattern. They do a 21 mile circle, and they do it within a certain amount of time. That's why they were trapped to extinction nearly,
Yeah.
because they're so predictable.
Yeah.
And they would just put the trap in one of their little, roots and catch them every time.
And a male or a female will never leave the site, so
Huh.
if you get to the male, the female will
They're magical creatures.
just mourn and stay in an area and just be depressed. And, yeah.
So has anybody asked DES about, like, how they can divert the
Probably,
water?
I'm sorry?
I'm trying to think of the person's name. It's
Mary
Mary Howe, she's probably asked.
A follow-up on this, and I'm going to be careful how I word this. The way this was handled could have been done better, and we just spoke about communication. And Black Mountain is an integral part of our community. If Black Mountain were to go under, it would affect every business in town, including mine. And so they're not above the law, like Jackson Ski Touring is not above the law, but perhaps we should handle it with a little more kid gloves, and perhaps we could have gone to John Fitzgerald without going to the DES first and see if he wouldn't have done some of the work and gone through the selectmen or something like that. There could have been another way to handle this instead of filing an official, a neighbor filing an official complaint with the DES. That neighbor has now gotten a restraining order put on her because he no longer wants her on his property. And she's been walking on that property since she was a child. And that's a shame. That just shouldn't happen in our town. Whereas we're only 850 people, we should be able to work together, and we should solve these problems, and perhaps it could have been handled better. And it's a learning lesson. That's what I see it as. Is if something like this happens again, we do have an official complaint form to go to DES with. I prefer we go through the town and talk to each other and go to the owner and say, look, we've got this problem. Can we solve it without taking you to the DES and possibly potentially costing thousands and thousands of dollars sometimes? That was maybe a lesson learned there.
Right, and the other
And
lesson.
there's a lot of ill will there now.
Right. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah. On that note, I just walked back onto Gray's Inn property, and the bridge here, it's collapsing because it was put in half-assed. Like we thought. Jackson Ski Touring put that bridge in. They should have put it 10 feet back on either side. They didn't. They put it in a corner, and right now, if you walk on that bridge, you can do this to it. You can turn it into it's a nice little teeter saw. And this is what is that thing, 12, 14 feet long, 16 feet long?
Probably 16 feet long.
And the whole bridge is moving, and it needs to be rebuilt, and because it was unfortunate.
And, yeah, I mean, the silly thing about that is we all stood there, we all knew the
Knew
rules.
that was
We
being
all
put in improperly,
knew that that was gonna happen, and even
and
our state.
here's a perfect example of DES said, this is how it should be put in. Somebody, they felt that they were above the law or didn't have to follow the law, and they just put it in, and they did a terrible job. And now we've got bank erosion, and we've got a collapsing bridge.
It's one of many, actually. I mean, that's just one obvious one that we
Right.
all stood there and said, well, this isn't
Yeah.
gonna work.
And you know what, the Conservation Commission, I think, and it's just my opinion, should maybe have more to say on what Jackson Ski Touring does.
I agree.
Because they sometimes do.
Well, I mean, they're directly involved in the same things that we're involved in.
In erosion and-
managing.
Yeah, and they just did shoddy work in this situation, and they didn't have to. All right, anything else on here? Wetlands permit, review reports of DES mature. We have not set a date to remove knotweed or set a date to work at the falls. How about, knotweed's not that big a deal. I think, like the falls, we can do this by email and individually go, and, as long as there's not a quorum, we can go up one at a time and move some wood chips. Bill Wogish said he'll move those wood chips down. We need them down by the picnic table. Yeah.
Well.
If we need more,
I mean, you could drop the pile where you want it, and then.
would we have too many? What happens if we end up?
Yeah, I mean, the pile where it is now isn't really an eyesore so much, but I think if you dump the pile further down
It
and
would
left
be
it,
an
it
eyesore.
would be kind of like.
Okay. Let's utilize what we have, and then from there, if we need more, we'll ask. Anyone?
I have a double wheel wheelbarrow, too,
Oh,
if anybody wants to
yeah.
use it, it's
Yeah.
bounces around.
Oh, yeah.
Drops
Yeah,
in,
that would be nice.
It's pretty burly.
I'm gonna leave it, since we had, we just don't have enough members here tonight, I'm gonna just try to set up something by email as far as a, work session or something like that, okay, and see if we can. And then as far as getting your thing printed, if I don't get it in tomorrow morning, it will be in the paper next Thursday.
Okay.
And if, let's give everybody a little bit of opportunity, I'll email it again to everybody.
Did you email it once to
I
everybody?
thought I did. I will tonight. I'll just shoot your email over everyone. And let's have everyone just go over it quick and get that in the paper. Anyone have anything else?
No. I mean, the selectmen did re-sign the same guys back to the board, right?
I'm sorry?
Let's-
Oh, yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's from the board. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's been reappointed.
Reappointed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything? Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Thanks, Hank.